Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 13 trilogy. And now we're finally doing Lightning Returns, the final chapter in this saga. No, I'm sorry, I can't even say I can't even say saga with a
I
straight
remember
face.
when this game was supposed to be the one that would break me.
The Twilight Saga is more of a saga than this, and that's sad.
This is a trilogy.
Oh shit.
All right, everybody.
And
This
for
game
starters,
is
and starting with a good measure, no Yoshitaka Amano logo. Thank you very much.
What is up
Thank
with
you.
this opening menu? It's just a blank black screen.
Because Joe, but the thing about this game is that it was made like the sequel, like 13-2. It was made over the course of a year and with tighter
I
budget.
hear this one had even shorter development time than 13-2.
And by tight budget, we mean a tight budget by Square standards. Obviously, this still looks better than Final Fantasy XIII.
The deal being, though, that this had even less development time than 13-2. And apparently this one, well, okay, I wasn't even a Final Fantasy fan. Even I heard about how terribly this game performed.
And like we established with Tails' hard attack of figuring it out in the finale of 13-2. Thanks to the co-development of Tri-Ace helping out, we have a brand new battle system that is more reminiscent of their games.
They wasted several years that they could have used making Kingdom Hearts free on this game.
Not just that. It's what Jova said. These also took away time from the Osaka team of Kingdom Hearts, apparently, and money from Team Cavia, which led to their closing and leaving Yoko Taro without essentially a home. Essentially, this was a beast that sucked away almost everything at Square Enix.
And now you know why. And now you know why Yoshiwada was fired as president shortly after this game released.
So Yoko Taro nearly was out on the street thanks to this game.
We start with the best thing of all, pretentious narration.
It wouldn't be a 13 game if it didn't start with a pretentious piece of narration.
Oh wait, let me guess. A far-off memory, that's like a far-off dream. A far-off dream, that's like a far-off
You know what?
memory.
You know what, Java? For as pretentious as those verses also are, I'll still take them over these because at the very least, it's nice poetry. It's pretentious, but it still somewhat sounds nicer than this.
Fair enough.
And even then,
for a few seconds.
And even then, no more only does that at the beginning of the game, so like a couple seconds.
Why,
so
yes, Square Enix, I did like the opening to Final Fantasy IX. Oh, and also
I love how Lightning is perched atop a tower like he's fucking Batman.
Lightning.
And yes, Neo's the sunglasses, like the Matrix.
Alright, everybody, you're probably wondering, what the fuck is she wearing?
She's wearing the feminine version of Cloud's outfit from Advent Children.
It's so abundantly clear that Nomura himself was so completely tired of working on these games as well, because here's his actual interview about what his role was in this game, and Nomura answered, and I quote, "I did Lightning and Snow's new outfits. That's it. I'm done." He literally says that. That's it. I'm done. He himself was also getting fucking tired of this shit.
Also, Snow has become a pimp lord.
Again.
Of course.
Again, you can tell Nomura was getting tired because, like I said, Lightning is essentially just a white and more feminine version outfit of Cloud's outfit from Advent Children, complete with the sunglasses and everything.
Sorry. Not just that, Joe. Remember, the development of these three games kept him away from his Versus 13 project, so...
Ironic. He was supposed to be working on something related to 13, but they kept away from something to help out with 13.
Fortunately, Tabat took care of salvaging the project.
And now it's looking like Versus 13's engine will be used for the 7 remake.
Yeah. The battle system of the 7 remake is clearly what Nomura was going for with the Versus 13 combat.
Also, a new beast out of nowhere. What the fuck?
So yeah, Versus 14 at the very least gets to live on for the 7 remake at least. But anyway, back to this shit. You're probably okay. This opening is so terrible because you don't even know what the hell is going on. It's just monsters.
Now, okay, I guess to be fair...
And the dialogue doesn't explain anything.
Now, I guess to be fair, we could assume that this is going to be one of those how we got there or openings, and I guess that's why we could...
No, it's not actually the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I know you don't like that trope, Jova, but you have to admit it would have been a bit more helpful here.
Oh, I agree. In fact, that's what I was assuming we were starting off with.
Bringer of light.
Oh man.
She'd come at the end of
Wait, who the hell is talking right now? Who the hell is narrating?
Snow.
No.
He's trying to
Why is Snow narrating?
What's it gonna be?
I don't.
Also, cherish it because this was one of the last times Troy Baker ever voiced a main Japanese role.
Really? He's voiced Simon Blackwell. He's voiced what's his name from Mystery Mask.
That's still
you
where
mean Miracle Mask.
This is after Simon, though.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this was.
He was Simon Blackwell in Ace Attorney 6 as well.
True.
That's true.
You're a regular angel of death.
Not to mention too, let's not forget World of Final Fantasy is a thing.
True.
Besides, he'll probably be in the Catherine remake.
Yeah. Come on. It's more so because he's busy with more high-paying projects than anything.
I think I get what
matter.
I think I get what you mean. So let me guess, this is one of the last times where he had like a main speaking role. I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know, it's just that after this, it seemed to be preferring voicing more Western video games than Japanese ones.
Nothing wrong with that. And to be fair, at this time, Western games were Sarah. What do you? Oh wait, no, it's Lumina.
Yeah, that's not Sarah Jova. Like during the whole development of this game, I honestly thought she was gonna be her completely, but she's not. And even if she doesn't, she's not even voiced by Laura Bailey. So what the fuck? Also, symbolism.
I hate that character, Lumina.
I swear that kid.
I know, Snow. I know.
Let me guess. Lumina is related to them somehow.
We'll see, Jova.
You'll see.
Wouldn't that be a funny retcon if it turned out they had another sister?
Well, Jova, this trilogy is all about retconning itself, so why not?
Definitely not.
It's worse than Pokemon.
If I have to fight the savior, then I will.
At least Pokemon, for all the retcons it has, still keeps the basics down, whereas this one doesn't even do that.
And he's not gonna be available as a boss fight until way later in the game.
So yeah, that opening happened. I hope you understood what the hell happened there.
Again,
More
maybe we'll
narration.
get some explanation later on.
She's saying it.
Don't worry, Joa, because...
Okay, explanation.
Presiding over a banquet at the end of the world. And I've become the savior.
Quote unquote.
So
some reason.
so she's become a pariah, I'm guessing.
Sent to a
Well,
world
okay, a savior to
consumed by
some,
chaos.
pariah to others.
Tell
You
me,
know, like
Snow,
Booker DeWitt in Bioshock Infinite.
has ever a day passed when you haven't thought about Sarah?
Fuck you, game, by the
girl
way.
you loved?
The game is literally cock teasing. The game is literally cock teasing you by telling, oh, you think you cared about Sarah, but then we took away from you, don't we?
I can't
Isn't this shit?
I guess Sarah's the new
Like, that's the
girl that
thing.
they're obsessed
I
with.
have to be blunt. Despite the Laura Bailey jokes and everything, I never particularly cared about Sarah. I didn't hate her. She was just a thing. So, what pissed me off about the ending of 13-2 is how deliberately cock-teasing it was towards the player. Sarah was just a tool towards a goal, nothing more.
And yet, here she is now again, being the damsel just like in the
Alright, Mr.
first
Hopeless
13
time.
game.
Any ideas?
Well,
Mr.
oh wait,
Pastime,
oh wait, hold
why
on,
are you
hold on,
calling-
hold on. Oh wait, my mistake. She's supposedly dead in this version. Yeah, I'm sure she really is.
Sure, why not?
Also, why does Hope sound like he's younger again? Because that would be... Look. If there's one thing that 13-2 got better, it was Snow. You know, he got older, matured better. There's no way they'd pull a Sonic X Season 3 and revert Hope back to the version that most people hated.
Believe it or not, Joe, but the game will explain.
They're doing
that.
it, aren't they? He's gonna be younger Hope again.
What exactly happened in Sonic Season X Season
They-
3?
Alright, let me explain
okay.
Let me
Oh,
explain
yeah,
the
no,
new
no,
battle
let's-
system.
Let Pedro explain the battle system first. I'll explain to you afterwards, Theo.
Okay, so basically the way the battle system in this game is more akin to an action combat system similar to the ones Tri-Ace makes. Basically, you can use the circle button to attack, the R button to defend, and here's a cool thing. If you defend right the very last moment before an enemy attack hits you, you'll block all damage, so the game will reward you if you practice your timing.
Wait, what? Holy heck, that actually sounds like something I asked for in one of our earlier commentaries.
Yeah, the one big thing that this game has over the previous two games is a better battle system. It doesn't have a party like Tay would like. However, considering how utterly mind-numbingly boring
Honestly,
the battle system in the previous
I'm-
2 games was, I'll take this over that.
Honestly, Pedro, why can't we just have both? I'm with Tio on this, like, seriously.
Yeah, we could. But however, I'll take the lesser of two evils. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't know, amigo. Yes, on the one hand, this is a lot better of a battle system. On the other hand, though, it runs the risk of getting boring. Wait. Oh, wait. Hold on. All of a sudden, she has a different outfit and different moves. What the heck?
Well, I was trying to explain that. Basically, this game also takes cue from Final Fantasy XIII-2, and Lightning changes outfit, and the outfits can count as classes.
I thought
So
that was
just like
Final
in 13
Fantasy XII-2 sing. I don't recall that being a
Yeah,
thing in
that's right.
13-2.
You're right. 10-2. Sorry, I misspoke.
Oh, well,
The point is,
that's nice.
just like in Final Fantasy X-2, each class is represented with clothing, and of course, this being a Motomu Toriyama game, this means that there's going to be a lot of stupid outfits that serve either for stupid comedy
Dress your waifu.
or stupid fan service.
I mean, to be fair, stupid fan service is hardly a thing exclusive to Toriyama. Like even good developers do succum to that. So I'm not exactly good. Okay.
The problem is that Toriyama doesn't have the good qualities of a game to at the very least distract us from it.
True. So
And
look,
honestly, it's probably only there to distract us from the rest of the shit saying that this game is.
to
Anyway,
be fair,
let me give you my
okay.
2
To be fair,
cents,
Shiroi, from what it suggests, I don't think Toriyama's actually aware of the bad reception of his games. Like,
Also,
No, that's
yeah.
because he's too busy stroking his lightning boner.
well,
Yeah.
I actually do have
Also,
a bit of
in
an
case you're
explanation
wondering,
for
yes,
that.
we
but
have
go on.
another new original supposed victory theme because we couldn't alienate enough from the franchise again.
True. However, unlike the previous two, I actually like the victory fanfare in this one. It's obviously nothing will ever will never come close to the classic Final Fantasy victory fanfare that we all know and love. However, on its own merits, I think it's fine. It's definitely an improvement over the previous games.
So-
What the fuck
Anyway,
was
my
that?
2 cents over the combat. As Pedro mentioned, this is inspired by Tri's works. I think specifically more Valkyrie profile, but God, it's been so much since I played it. But
I never played Valkyrie Profile, so I wouldn't know.
imagine this combat multiplied with 4 party members, essentially. That's what I
Sure.
find, which in turn makes me baffling the fact that you're doing this just with a single character. I'm sorry. The whole idea of having a Final Fantasy game with just a single playable character is
Stupid.
just wrong to me. It's been born. Like, you have to understand, Final Fantasy, much like all the other RPGs, was born as the cornerstone of something that was adapted from the traditional role-playing formula of playing like Dungeons and Dragons. And what you do in Dungeons and Dragons, you get around with your friends and shits and giggles around having a party. That's essentially what it is. Reducing that formula to its bare bones, minimal, idealistic term, just so you can play dress up your waifu, it's wrong on so many levels.
And hey, if you wanted to dress up your waifu, do what 10-2 did. That had multiple characters. And let me get this straight. Is giving Lightning all these different outfits and thus attack styles, is that their answer for we want multiple
Yes.
characters? Like what?
Basically, every time you're on battle and you just do any kind of move with a specific class, you'll spend ATB, and every time the ATB bar reaches 0, you cannot do any more moves with that class. So you have to switch classes, and every time you're in a specific class, the other 2 classes are recharging in the background. So it's all about consistently switching classes, so you can keep a good string of attacks going without getting into a position where you can't do anything because your ATB reached 0.
Except since you're only just one person, it's a simple matter of just swapping from classes before you run out of meter. Like it sounds
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
all R1 and L1 will instantly switch your classes with no problem. Yeah.
But anyway, point being, yes, it's better than the previous battle system, but both were so shit, but anything at this point is more manageable. But the problem is not how the battle system works, is the idea behind it.
I'll give this game this also. The music is definitely a lot more engaging than 13-2.
Oh yeah, that's another. Thank you, Joba. That's a good segue. The Lightning Returns as by far my personal favorite soundtrack of the entire trilogy. I actually think it's a great soundtrack. I love it. There's a lot of great tracks in this one, and not this one. This one in particular is just generic. However, there's gonna be a lot. I love the Wildlands themes. I love the like, for as terrible as the ending is, I love the music that plays during it.
Question.
Just spotted snow.
Go ahead.
Help me
Does
track
this
it.
also bring back the best tracks from the previous 2 games? Like, does it bring back the original
Yes.
battle theme? Does it bring
Yes,
back the...
when you fight Kaios, it plays the Kaios theme.
Does it also bring back my favorite track from 13-2, which was basically the remix of the first 13 games battle theme?
Wait,
You know,
oh,
the,
you mean
the one that's literally a
you mean
remix of the...
you mean Blinded by Light?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a new version of Blinded by Light in this game.
For record,
I
the
thought that
composers
was
this
in
time around
13-2.
Yeah, it's Amazo, the same guy who did the previous.
No,
two
actually, they were free.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Naoshi Mizuta and Mitsuko Suzuki.
Wait, hold on. So, wait, am I mistaken? So does that remix only show up in this game, not in 13-2?
What remix? What are you talking
The
about?
remix of Blinded by Light that I'm referring to.
Yes, there's a. I
I
don't know
asked
if
if it was in 13-2 as well.
was Blinded by Light even in 13-2? I don't even remember.
Yeah, there is. It's a remix of that, but it's present.
Yeah.
Well, there's a new remix made specifically for this game, but I don't know if I don't think the 13-2 one is here.
I'm trying to remember. I know it's one that I heard off of YouTube that's really cool. It starts with just the violins
But
playing.
yeah, it's gonna show up eventually, I guess. But yeah, the good news,
Oh,
the
wait,
data
Datalog
log is back! Yay!
Yay.
However, question.
Everyone's favorite.
But don't worry, Shiroi. Unlike the first game, you don't have to read the data log to understand the story, because every time you get back to the Ark, Hope will dump exposition on you for hours. I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding.
Also-
Oh
And also,
no,
I
they
know-
did it!
And
Okay.
also, spoilers, the data log doesn't explain you everything. There is still stuff that is not properly explained.
So let me get
Well,
this straight.
yeah.
So let me get this straight. In the first 13 game, the data log was annoying, but it could tell you what was going on. In 13-2, the data log could not tell you what was going on to the point where there was no point in checking it. Now here, you might as well. It looks like you're
Not have
prompted
it.
to check the data log, but then you'll also get annoying exposition that makes the data log pointless in this game. So it's a
Basically, yeah.
natural evolution. Anyway, Tio, allow me to
The only
explain.
use you might get for the data log is if you haven't played the previous 2 games, but that's about it.
Yes, Jova?
Now allow me to explain to you my turmoils with Hope being turned into a younger child. Basically, you remember Chris Thorndike from Sonic X, one of the most hated Sonic characters of all time? Yeah, he was
Yeah.
he was bad in Season 1, outright terrible by the finale of Season 2, but if there's one improvement that came about, was that he matured, got older, and married one of the better human characters, but that's besides the point. So what did they do at the start of Season 3? They had him warp to Sonic's world,
They aged him
and
backwards.
younger.
Oh boy.
Now, okay. Now, on the one hand, he was technically a better character than in the first 2 seasons, since he was still technically an adult. Unfortunately,
So he retained his newfound intelligence.
Unfortunately, they also brought back some of his stupidities from while he was a kid,
Because
in
of
addition to what
course,
made him better. Like,
Why
seriously.
couldn't they keep him as an adult?
Yeah, like, that was one of the few things people were actually liking about Chris, and then they thought, oh, people are actually starting to like Chris, well, we can't have that.
Considering
We
season
can't
3
have one good thing
apparently,
left in this.
considering that apparently season 3, though, if I recall, doesn't adapt to any particular game. I mean, only season 2 does with Adventure 2, and Battle. I'm guessing it was more like an afterthought than anything.
I don't know.
From what I remember, the first season was commissioned by Western people. Not it wasn't actually. I think it was. I don't remember it exactly.
I do not recall the first season being commissioned by American folk.
It's kind of like how. Remember, Jova, 4Kids has a history of commissioning things that were not made by the Japanese originally. So.
Oh, I know that, but Sonic X, it wasn't like the Yu-Gi-Oh movie because Sonic X still had the same Japanese team. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, there was a complete different
whatever.
art.
Back to this though.
Yeah.
You can switch targets as well by pressing left or right on the D-pad.
Why
So,
couldn't
yeah.
we do that in the previous 13 games?
Well, in the previous
yeah,
13 games, it was
stagger.
it was more of a turn-based system, so you could just select your target via the menu, so it wasn't really needed.
Okay, true.
Also, the stagger system has changed now. It's these hard.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, the stagger gauge, which was one of my most hated features in the previous 2 games, was replaced with something that is much more tolerable. The stagger wave. What is this? Basically, what you have to do to stagger your enemy is not fill out a stupid Bard has this convoluted method of filling. Instead, just keep a good string of attacks that are, like, for example, exploit the enemy's elemental weakness. Let's say, for example, you're fighting a fire monster. If you attack that monster with water spells, the stagger wave will increase faster than if you would use other attacks. Exploit that weakness, and the stagger wave will keep increasing and increasing, and eventually the enemy will be staggered, and it will be easy to kill. So the stagger wave is definitely a huge improvement over the stagger gauge, because the stagger gauge was terrible, especially in that Chaos Paradox battle in 13-2. Fuck that.
Yeah, the only complaint I may have is that due to the HUD and the enemy structures and models, a lot of time the stagger wave is barely visible at all. You don't know if you're doing a good job or not.
Now, audience, you're probably wondering, well, Squirm, from the sounds of it, it sounds like this is overall mass improvements, you know? Better battle system, better music, better this and that, and hey, you don't have to read the data logs even though the exposition is annoying. Just that.
Yeah,
However...
better customization when it comes to customizing the character, because the customization is actually pretty fine.
And hey, I'll give them credit. They actually bothered to program all those different animations for Lightning with different outfits and whatnot. So it at least feels like different enough characters. So this sounds like actually... So, I mean, shortcomings aside, this sounds like, the best this trilogy could hope for. Well, Pedro, how about you...
Depends on who you ask. Pedro. If you're a gameplay guy, maybe I can definitely see you. However...
That's the thing, though. Even people who liked gameplay didn't pick this game up themselves. Pedro, how about you give our audience a bit of a summarization for how what may seem minuscule actually dragged this game down under...
Okay, the big problem with this game is, the battle system, the music, and the customization are good things that belong in a much better game, because everything around those three things is putrid garbage. The story is putrid garbage. Well, that's just par for the course of this trilogy.
But it's apparently the worst, from what you told me.
The characters are putrid garbage. The graphics, if you thought 13-2 was a step down in terms of graphics, wait till you see what awaits us in this game. Because this game looks like utter garbage, but especially compared to the first game, which still looks fine by today's standards.
Yeah, there's cutting corners, and then there's this. And you know what?
Apparently, the fact that they had recycled all the assets and had so little time to develop and led to interesting results, but I'll commentate even more personally later on.
This is bad, though, considering as how Square Enix has fans of games like, again, Final Fantasy X, Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, seriously, Square Enix have had...
Hold on, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. I'm gonna have to... Okay,
God,
this has to be addressed right now. Hope is fucking kryptonite. Oh, actually, no, there's a cutscene now. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Jova, cutscene.
I wasn't talking.
I know. Well, I interrupted you because I wanted to interrupt something, but might as well interrupt myself now as well, because cutscene. I hate you.
So, let me guess. She is either Sarah's nobody.
What are you doing here?
Jova, you wish.
Okay, she's Lightning's nobody. Let me guess. She is all the happiness and joy from Lightning that was missing since the first 13 game.
And you can't be one of God's
and she's evil for some reason.
Also, guys, we're so mature because we're mentioning God by name with the capital G. Aren't they so progressive?
Yeah. Whatever. America was doing that plenty. Japan. You ain't exactly winning any brownie awards for that.
Yeah, Hope, thank you. I know. 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, stagger tutorial. Alright, I've already talked about the stagger wave, so we can skip this. Okay. This has to be addressed right now, and it will become even more apparent, even still in this part when we get back to the arc. The big kryptonite of boredom in this game is Hope. Hope never shuts the fuck up. Even when you're not in the arc getting exposition lectures, he's always talking through the intercommunicator. He never shuts up. I'm not even kidding. There's gonna be a lot of times in this game where I'm constantly interrupting him because he just doesn't shut up. Because if I stopped to hear every single thing he says, this playthrough would be twice as long. I'm not even kidding.
Did they give an option to turn him off?
No.
It's even worse than Blue
So, put up
Dragon.
or shut up.
Isn't that kind of what is the norm to, give an option to turn off them? They didn't give that option.
Even Sonic Forces allowed us to turn off the radio messages.
Like,
This is like in Pro Mega Man X5, I think, onward, where you get discount roll that never shuts up in telling you the tutorials.
I'll give
And he
X5.
always talks in this
I'll give
boring
X5
monotone
I'll give
without
X-
any life.
I'll give X5 and X6 credit. Yeah, you had to stop, but even then, it wasn't as frequent as Hope. And I guess maybe you could try and ignore it, but that's still gonna be a constant annoyance.
Oh yeah, that's
I wanna-
right.
Oh, sorry, go
Let
ahead.
me just mention this. Yeah, like the message is saying there, aside from exploiting elemental weaknesses, it's always good to use specific abilities that do a lot of hits in a row. Like, for example, my personal favorite spell to use in this game is Fandara. Not Fandaga, Fandara. Why? Because Fandara is basically a string of various lightning bolts hit at once, so it's really useful for filling in the staggered wave. Go ahead.
That always seems to be a thing in Square Enix games, where the most the quote-unquote most powerful version of Thunder is actually not the best one to use.
Well, usually it is. It's just that this game is, of course, retarded, so...
Also, yeah, the overclock.
It was also kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
like
the
that.
overclock ability. The overclock ability is the break the game ability. What it does is it slows down time, so lightning gets infinite ATB, and I can basically just beat the crap out of the boss, and it's basically the win the battle ability, basically. And believe it or not, it's the only way to beat the final boss of this game. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, about the whole Hope thing, let me give a comparison to a game that was released, I think around the same time, or even a bit earlier.
That's very
Shin
nice,
Megami
though.
Tensei 4 on the Nintendo 3DS. In that game, due to different reasons, you have an AI partner, Burroughs, which, by the way, is voiced by Ali Wheels. She
He's
has the
still
exact same...
How
Okay.
does he have more to talk about?
She has the exact same function
pressure.
of Hope in this game. She has to explain everything, and she has a monotone voice because she's a robot,
Can I force it?
essentially. But why she's actually more funny and bearable? Because her taking seriously everything creates a lot of hilarious situations. Like the protagonist had to do some weird shit. Burroughs just said, "Oh, I'll register that as a new quest," even though if it's extremely mundane. So at least in that game, the writers found a way to get around the boring tutorial explanation. Not this one.
Heck, I'll even go for a more popular example. Alfred in the Arkham games. Like, yes, Alfred talks a lot, but the writers remembered, hey, if we have our dialogue be witty enough, it'll be entertaining. Like, okay, look, if you want to have a character talk a lot, there needs to be one of few things. One, the player character is mute. That would make sense then why you would have that person talk for them. Or that person has something witty to say that is not just describing what's going on. Because, look,
Kind of like how when Drippy is teaching Oliver how the battle system works,
And-
After coming all this way,
it's great. It works great because, well, it's fucking Stephen Rodri doing his Welsh shtick. Obviously.
And also, Jova, what you mentioned actually fits perfectly what Portal 2 does. In that game, you have
yeah.
a new protagonist, and the person who's teaching you things as a funny way of talking, because I forgot the name of Stephen Merchant, I think it's called. Essentially, it's a British comedian, so he has an extremely Cockney accent.
yeah.
take me back to the Ark.
Also, Welsh shtick. He is Welsh.
I know, that's what I'm saying. His Welsh shtick.
Apparently, Shiri, Welsh people have been reduced to being personalities.
Well, remember too, that's what the
Notice that
Well,
we're
yeah,
not
he
caring a
is,
single
but he's
bit about the cutscene because it's so pointless.
I'm sorry, who is Lumina talking to? Is she talking to
So yeah,
herself?
everybody. It turns out we weren't able to get snow because
There's a wall of black goo.
I get that the point of this section was for tutorial purposes, but you could have found a better story explanation of why we can't save snow right now.
Or hey, do what Mega Man X did with its opening stage and have
Not
it
just
be
that,
a
like I
battle
mentioned
that
before-
you're destined to lose. Like
Like
at least
I
it
mentioned
would have
before,
progressed the
after
story.
these- oh, sorry.
I mean, if they'd given us like a battle that we're supposed to lose, yeah, it would have been annoying, but it would have at least progressed the story
Once upon a
instead
time,
of just
I
immediately
committed a terrible
roadblocking.
Again with these stupid circle thingies.
Also, didn't the Historia Crooks got destroyed?
Oh god, the
You-
graphics! They're so. Those
Oh.
graphics, like seriously,
And
I can
need
literally
help.
see the red and blues off of the 3D
And out of
highlights.
nowhere, God reached
So I
her.
turned to Sarah. The only family I had.
Great, thanks for showing me clips of this game because I totally missed them.
You know, game, you're not a movie. You don't have to fill out your runtime with reused animation.
Also, if you didn't play the DLC of 13-2, you're screwed for this vibe, for this
Like,
beta.
seriously, making your true ending pay DLC? Who does that nowadays?
It was a slave
Everyone.
as death.
True.
The centuries
Although
passed.
thankfully it's starting to
each
subside.
one
I'm almost
seemed like an
surprised EA
eternity
didn't beat them
until-
to it. Like EA, even EA
Well,
knew
it's
to
funny,
make the
Java,
Mass
one
Effect
of the
3
first
true
people
endings
actually-
free.
It was.
One of the first people who actually did it was Ubisoft.
Speaking to me.
Go figure. And yet nowadays it's EA that's on trial for loot boxes.
So yeah, this is what happened after the
gold reach lightning.
Bonivelza.
Wait,
Now here's the problem.
Why don't you just call him Bonivelza?
This maybe was buried under the analects of the fucking data log in the first game, but story-wise, in the story itself, they've never mentioned Bonivelza up until this point.
Not
they've
just
mentioned
that.
Etro, they've mentioned the Maker,
not just
but
that.
they've never mentioned. Go ahead.
Remember the ending of 13-2 suggested that Caius and God, Palutena, I called her, whatever, younger Palutena, had some evil plan. Like, they were the true villains because they apparently had some plot. Like, literally, the ending scene of 13-2 that has Caius ranting about how now he can put our plans into motion. Are those two even the bad guys here?
Not sure
No.
anymore.
No, no, Jova. The bad guy. Well, I can. In order to properly explain who the bad guy is, I would have to get into spoilers. But so.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna guess that all of a sudden they're not the bad guys, even though the end. Well, okay, it wasn't the. Actually, yeah, I think it. Okay, even in the DLC ending, we're left to believe that Caius is the bad guy for this. Caius.
Well, you do fight Caius in this game, but he's not the main villain.
I know,
He's
I
not
know.
even really a villain. He's more like an anti-hero than anything.
Okay, Tia, remind me, what's the name of Palutena but younger?
Ewell.
Ewell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, again, 13-2's ending hinted that Caius and Ewell were, well, it
He's
also hinted that...
still talking. Why won't he shut up?
Well,
Why?
Leave.
because Pedro, he wanted to give you the prompt to talk to him.
Also, these I think are the DLC costume packages.
All right, everybody. All right, Shiroi, Teo, Jova,
Yes?
sit down and listen to Hope's boring lecture.
Okay,
No.
how bad could
I
it
don't
be?
want to.
Oh, come on. Okay, look. I have to wonder, how much did Hope's voice actor get paid for this? Like, he must have been the most paid actor in this game.
Probably.
I am not even kidding.
So-
There was a certain. I'm not even kidding, guys. There was a certain part that I was recording in this playthrough. I don't remember the exact number, but I know the exact specific part.
What to be part 13?
Where since there was a shit ton of cutscenes that just go on and on, I literally put down my controller and I went to make myself a sandwich while the part was recording. I
What
was
do you do with a sandwich right now? I'm
because
hungry.
I was
Oh,
so
Shiroi.
bored. Anyway, yeah, they're the 10-2 thing basically, like I just said.
I forget which
The-
game that outfit is from.
No, it's original. I think it's
There's a-
based on the Black Mage job, loosely, very loosely.
Most of the outfits in this game are original. However, yes, there are fan service outfits. I don't mean fan service as in exploring lightnings, but I mean
a
actual.
couple of them actually are, though. But
Yeah. But there are references like the Black Mage outfit, the White Mage outfit.
And guess what? This was actually one of the very first occasions where Square Enix decided to put through their new acquisition of idols, because in this game, Lightning has a Tomb Raider outfit based on Lara Croft of
which
the 2013 game.
I will be showing
And
off
yet,
in a later part.
surprisingly, no Assassin's Creed outfit, considering how much Square Enix seems to have an Ubisoft boner.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, that's just it, Shiroi. Every single time we get back to this point, he just talks and talks and talks. And I'm not even kidding. It's not even new information. Most of the time, he just repeats himself, and he just keeps blabbering on and on and on and on and on.
And there's
you
no
know?
option to shut him up.
Well, there is. I could just skip the cutscenes, but I can't because we have to commentate on them.
Not only that, even skipping
Do we
live.
know?
Something important.
Yes. Okay, Shuri, short answer, yes we do. But two, even if we could just skip it, Remember, Shirai, Pedro's playing it. He has to press X every single time just to speed through it. And this is not...
Actually, no. Actually, no. That's the cutscenes. The talking just goes on by itself. I don't need to press X.
Oh.
Hope S time.
So it's all in the
here we go.
cutscene.
We fought side by side.
Yeah, it's actually cutscene. Well, it's the minimalistic cutscenes in the sense that it's voiced. It's scripted and it keeps going on its own. However, the characters just stand there because, you know.
Hey, look, animation from a better game.
Scared and angry. But we
Like,
Debatable.
Not saying much.
Yes, Pedro, I consider 13 a better game than Lightning
the one who'd
Returns.
lead us all to a brighter
Sure.
future.
Wait,
It's complicated. It's complicated.
Pedro, you and Tio yourselves were saying that 13 is the best of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Well,
When I woke,
yes, it is. Yeah,
the hope
true.
who
I
I'd
guess.
seen
Yeah.
become a
When you
man
get right down to it, I
was a
guess.
boy again.
I
Sure.
mean,
I
don't
guess
get
this is the most
Fear and
ridiculous
lonely
one.
command.
And you know what's sad,
Yeah.
though, is like, oh, this is the best gameplay, and you know, 13 was essentially a hallway. Like, gameplay-wise,
But
13
yeah,
was the most boring.
Point being, supposedly after the old destruction op has been found as being the vessel of Bunnyvelzer or some shit, and essentially God is using him to communicate to Leininger his decisions.
I'm sorry, did they literally just say that, or is that a spoiler?
No, they just said
No,
it.
no.
Essentially, the point being, God says, but apparently this God is a complete idiot because despite being omnipotent, apparently he cannot save the world in the state he's in. He just prefers to scrap it and rebuild it anew.
Is
Fair
he
enough.
bringing hope back because at this point Toriyama was establishing that Lightning has a sick love interest?
Yeah, from what I can gather, this is the whole. I need an instrument to it's comfortable for you to talk with.
Yeah, Lightning was in love with Hope when she was way older than him. Maybe it would be less creepy if, you know, he were an adult like he was in 13-2, but they de-aged him, so now it's even more creepier since Lightning's even older now, and why did she have the hots for Hope again?
Also, get a load of this.
Well, it doesn't really matter anymore, Joe. We dropped that anyway, so.
Also,
They seem to still be hinting at it, honestly, considering what Lightning has to
like
say
I was
about
mentioning,
Hope.
also, get a load of this. Again, this god, despite supposedly being omnipotent, also cannot save the fucking souls that inhabit now the world, which, by the way, has changed geography altogether. It's not anymore Cocoon as it used to be, but or Pulse. But the point being, apparently, this god now needs like a messiah, like figure, in order to save the souls.
Oh, of course, returning you to child.
Transport there into the new world, and apparently Lightning fits the bill just fine.
So let me get this straight. Apparently, returning Hope to childhood was part of God's ultimate plan.
If the only
Of
way
course.
Jova, I'll use the classic excuse. God works in mysterious ways. There you go.
I wish I
with
was
Hope
watching
as
Blues
time to
Brothers.
guide me.
So,
On my holy mission.
Anyway,
Anyway.
I will. Oh wait,
Liberating the souls
yes,
of the living
yes.
from a
Actually,
dying
that
world.
line's from Blues
And
Brothers
usher in
2000,
the
and I
coming
still wish I was watching that over
Savior.
this.
Servant of mighty
Wonderful.
Benevolza.
But
Anyway.
but yeah, I mean, Pedro, considering what Lightning has had to say about Hope so far, I mean, she's had more to say about Hope than her own freaking sister. I think it's pretty obvious she still has feelings for him.
Just reminiscing.
Well, Toriyama seems to have abandoned that at this point, so yeah.
I mean, hey, that's what the data log said anyway.
Chaos wasn't
Yes, Hope, we know.
Yes.
Yes, Hope, we know. We played 13-2.
5 short centuries. That's what it took to destroy all
Although,
of creation.
honest speaking,
Now there's
why
barely
revert Hope to a
anything
kid?
left at
Like, it's not like they didn't
And
even
when the
have his
Savior
model
has
from
used all her
13-2 to
life,
save all the
The bells will
assets.
toll in the world.
Because we're
ahead.
stupid, Joe.
Was that what you told me?
What?
Yes, but when that time comes, Benevelza will finally awaken.
There you go.
Yes.
And supposedly when Bunnyvelzer will supposedly awake,
Right.
conveniently at
In
the
the
end of the
meantime,
world,
I've
it
got
will
some
use
souls to
every
save.
single soul that Lightning has collected to
As many as you
make
can.
them flew in the new
Remember,
world. So
every
really, like,
soul you leave
all
behind
merry and
will
peachy,
be
I
lost
guess.
for all
So let me get this straight. Because we must time in 13-2, we have to now make a whole new world for people to go to.
Apparently,
yeah.
again, this god is so incompetent. He prefers to just scrap everything and build anew. I've seen more empathy to Yeova, the antagonist of Shin Megami Tensei, and that's supposed to be a dick.
He can stop the flow of time up
I mean,
here.
I
Well-
guess we should be rooting for God since he seems to be trying to clean up these guys'
In 13 days,
mess.
God will reawaken. It'll all be over.
Hey, that's the problem, Jova. The whole chaos thing and why this interferes with Budivel's. It is explained in the Fabula Nova Crystallis compendium.
And Japanese exclusive.
Actually, no, I think this was actually released. It's a gigantic Bible-like book that functions exactly like the Bible. It explains who the gods are and what their operate is. This game explains a bit of it, but it only barely scratches the surfaces.
Why not just make a side quest so we can actually learn about the lore?
Thank you. Again, imagine if you're gonna go. Okay, imagine
if Ace Attorney tried to do this.
Imagine you're gonna watch a movie. And when you ask the ticket, the counter guy tells you, "Oh, by the way, this movie's really fucking confusing." And then he hands you like a 500-page book. Here, read this before you watch the movie. I don't know about you.
I'll just read the footnotes.
I can't speak for Teo, but if I was in that position, I would say, "I just want to watch my movie."
This is admittedly a problem with the game.
This is homework. This is homework. Before you have to study this shit before you can enjoy yourself.
The fun kind, like
See, this is admittedly a problem with the games industry. It's like, well, see, games aren't held to all the same stipulations that movies are. Hence why David Cage gets away with a lot of the stuff he does. Like, see, with a movie, a movie will get blasted for you needing supplementary material to understand it. A game, for some reason, gets a pass on that stuff.
You'll get a wider audience for a movie than you would a video game, but yeah, it still doesn't deserve it still doesn't deserve the past.
I have no idea why it's like that, and I also dislike that, but for some reason, well, the problem is that people don't take the games as seriously as the movies do.
For the record, by the way, for the record, I don't have a problem with supplemental material. Much like, okay, while the book itself is present in the PS3 version for people to watch, there is a physical copy of the Wizard's Companion for No Kuni. However, again, even though it has supplemental material like lore and stuff like that, it's not required for you to properly understand and enjoy the story.
Although, to be fair, like...
Yeah, supplemental material has to be exactly that. Supplemental, not things you have to read in order to understand what the fuck is going on.
Although, to be fair,
well,
like you said,
isn't
the book
it doesn't
actually...
need to be applied to this game because in that case it's more obvious, but the question in that regard is when this. Where do you draw the line?
I told you. Yes, we already know this, Dope. You see what I mean? He keeps repeating.
Okay.
No. Go ahead, Teo, sorry.
Essentially, the question in that regard is, I'm obviously not standing for this game because in that case it's pretty obvious, but in other cases, where do you draw the line? What do you consider just supplemental and what you consider vital?
Like I just said,
and I guess to be fair, like you said, with the Ni no Kuni book, that book is technically in the game with a digital version, especially
like I said, Teo, as long as I can understand and enjoy the story without the need to read the book, I'm fine. That's all I ask.
Anything that should be needed to understand should be in, the main material, like the game.
Yeah. It should be extra material.
Supplementary, yes. It should
under,
be things that...
Underline the word extra. If you want to know more about the world and the overall stuff that might have not been mentioned in the main dish, because we have to.
People who are interested in the greater lore.
We can't get too bogged down in myth because it will ruin the pacing. So here's a little book for those who want to know a little bit about the temples here, the gods there, the myths there. And that's it. However, the story itself needs to be actually fucking intelligible. That's all I ask.
So again, like I said, the Ni no Kuni book technically doesn't count since, you already have a digital version of that book in there. The physical version is just if you want to read it physically. I think
or if you play the DS version.
Oh yeah, that too.
Alright, well, let me bring up another example.
I was at
the Arrowless Astoria. The Arrowless story is basically the Bible of the Zelda series. Like it has a nice little. It even has some new story material.
Wait, hold on.
With his companion. What?
I think Hope said something important.
According to
see.
records that still survived, the man called
Yeah, Hope apparently disappeared 169 years ago.
So there you go. Turns out this is not the real Hope, but recreation made by gods. So the
Yeah,
real
that's
Hope
what
is
I
dead.
said. It's the
Oh
whole,
my god, so he's a Riku replica, he even has the same hairdo.
That's the whole God taking a form you're comfortable with.
Hey,
trope.
God.
Anyway, good news, guys. We're done.
My question, if God can do all this, why couldn't he just get back the original Hope?
An ensorcelled tome.
Because again, like Tail said, this god is an incompetent dipshit.
Oh wait, hold on guys, Hope has more to say.
Well, he also mentioned about the gathering. Essentially, if you gather some special supposed fruit for the tree of Yggdrasil that is present in the arc, you're gonna extend a bit the time limit that you have before the end of the world. Yes, this game is blatantly doing Majora's Mask right now.
The entire point of this particular thing is as a tutorial for EP abilities. What is EP? Basically, it's this game's MP. What it is every time you do an ability like, say, the overclock, you waste EP. And that's basically it. It says right there, I have 5 EP right now. Here's the thing about the EP, right? You replenish EP by killing enemies. And allow me to remind you, by the way, well, actually, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, so I'll bring up a certain thing about the EP later.
It seems a bit...
The point is, it's this game's MP.
Shouldn't it be something that you procure by attacking enemies, though? Because, like,
Thank
if
you
the enemies
for
are
the
already
lectures today.
I mean, if the enemies are already dead, then
You're
what's the
giving
point?
Savior a curfew. Is that
That too.
There
Well,
is a good reason.
I guess that works more with something like if it's Kingdom Hearts on Inokuni 2.
Is it
However,
is this like one of those...
considering we still have a victory screen and everything, I don't have a problem with the EP being awarded after the finishing the battle.
Oh, let me guess. This is one of those cases where the EP abilities are incredibly broken, so pretty much just kill with EP ability, you get back EP.
Oh, wait, you mean like gain EP as you... okay, well, actually, no, Jova, to be fair, yes. The way it works is when you finish a battle, it tells you how much EP you've won by the time the battle is done. However, you're still winning EP in real time, meaning, let's say you're battling 2 enemies.
Okay.
Let's say you're battling 2 enemies. If you kill one of them, you will gain EP right there, and it will show right there in the bar, and you can use that EP that you just won if you... So yes, you do get EP in the real time. Okay, in that case, yes, that is a yes.
All right.
Anyway, see you for part 2.
See ya.
All right, see you, everybody.